So I had a motorcycle crash in 2007, and on scene, I had this idea that you are not going to be okay. You are okay. No matter what happens to you physically, you are okay. Things are going to happen in life, and you can feel uncomfortable, you can feel sad, but you are okay and will continue to be okay. And so if you've given that power that you know that I am okay and I'm going to continue to be okay, what are you going to do with that? So in the hospital, I was recovering, having surgeries, doing physical therapy, and I had this idea that came to me that this experience was going to allow me to help other people. It was going to help me help other people, which was only going to improve my life. And so yes, I had to figure out now what am I going to do for a job? Where am I going to live? How do I go out in public? How do I date? I didn't know how to do that before anyway, but you figure that stuff out. But the one thing that I had was amazing support. I was a paramedic, and I had hundreds of people show up at the hospital. They built ramps onto the front of my aunt and uncle's house and onto my dad's house. They were there when I told them that I wanted to do triathlon. They were like, we don't know how you're going to do that, but we'll figure it out. And they were there to help me, and I'm glad that they were there to experience that end of the first race, and it made it even more powerful. And suddenly, people were getting inspired by things that I was doing because I was trying to help them, but also because I was having success because of them. And so if you take people along on the ride with you, they cannot help but get inspired by it as well, and they want to help out. So the fun thing about racing is if you're doing it right, things are going to happen. So I got hit by a car in the Kansas City Marathon one year. It's pretty hard to do, but I managed to do it. But it was also 2 weeks before another race, and my equipment looked like that. And so I figured out how to get things done, and I was able to race. And I began to learn about logistics, because if you have a hand cycle for the bike, a race chair for the run, and a wheelchair, it's hard to get all of that in a Volkswagen Passat. So you start getting really good about working out logistics and doing those things and moving on. And all the while, I didn't know that I was learning lessons that were going to help me later. And again, things happen. This was completely out of my control. I didn't do anything wrong, but that stuff happens. But I had people help me out. No, good dog. But I also learned that if you're going to be dumb, you better be tough, because things are going to happen. And I also learned that I'm a lot tougher than I thought I was. And so along the way, I was having all these things happen that taught me lessons. And along the way, I realized that I had support that a lot of other people didn't have. And so I got involved in advocacy, helping people get into businesses that may not be accessible and figuring out how to get the equipment that they need. And along the way, I also found out that people were surprised that you can drive a car if you're paralyzed, that you can have a job if you're paralyzed, that if you can live on your own if you're paralyzed. And so I got into peer support, and I realized that not everybody has the kind of support that I have, and I wanted to help those people out. And along the way, I had to retire from triathlon, and so I got into yoga, and I started having new challenges, and I started learning new things, and I started learning new techniques to deal with things along the way, and I started building on previous success. And I also found out that just like in racing, that sometimes I need assistance. Now, that doesn't look like much. My handstand has a little work to go, but it's a lot farther than most people that are paralyzed can get, and I didn't get there without help. And so I've built this family by telling people these crazy ideas that I wanted to do and then doing them with their support. And so I made the mistake of telling people that I want to ride a hand cycle across the United States in 2022. And those people told other people, and those people told those guys who interviewed me one weekend in Austin and are in post-production for a documentary about me. And we are working on getting sponsorships so that I can ride my hand cycle across the United States. And my goal is to, thank you. So I'm working on getting sponsorships so that I can pay for the ride, so any money that I raise along the way goes to the organization that I'm raising money for. And my goal is $1 million, as well as getting across the country in 60 days. And someday, I want to be the man that Graham thinks that I am. But the biggest thing that I've learned is if you go out there and you live your life trying to help other people and you are trying to be of service, you will not believe the kind of inspiration that comes into your life. And you might get as lucky as me and have an amazing fiance and family coming.